Today I am throwing away my doctor's lab coat and I am putting on my chef's hat in order to show you what it looks like to get over 5,000 milligrams of potassium daily through diet alone. No supplements, no cheats like bananas, no watermelon juice or orange juice. We're going to go with all natural healthy foods, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to get that much potassium, and we're going to do it on a budget. The entire day's food came out at less than $20. So let's get out of here, and I'll meet you guys in the kitchen right now. Okay, now we're in the kitchen, and I'm ready to get started. Today's going to be 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm also going to give you a snack and a dessert. The total calories for the day is going to be about 2,300. We're going to come out at about 5,300 milligrams of potassium, which is crazy. And I think you're going to see it's a really balanced diet. I've mixed in some kind of easy to prepare foods as well as some stuff that might take a little while, but you can save portions for other days, pop them in the refrigerator or the freezer for grab and go meals. The best part is the entire day cost me just under $20 to put together. I went to my local grocery store as well as the local Walmart, put these ingredients together, super easy. All right, let's get started on breakfast. We're gonna do a caramelized onion and vegetable frittata. It delivers about 17 grams of protein. It's a couple of hundred calories, but it delivers a whopping almost 1,000 milligrams of potassium. Great way to kickstart your day. So it's got a very simple list of ingredients. We've got 4 eggs. We've got a quarter cup of coconut milk, a little bit of olive oil, and then we've got onions, spinach, and mushrooms. I bought the onion, spinach, and mushrooms already pre-cut from the grocery store. The spinach was frozen. Super easy to throw this together. Now, what makes this frittata so special and so power-packed is the sheer amount of vegetables that we're putting into it. I'm sure you've had eggs with toast, sausage, bacon for breakfast in the mornings, maybe a side of toast, but that kind of breakfast doesn't really deliver that much potassium. In order to get to the levels of potassium that we're looking for, you've really got to have decent servings of vegetables early in the day and then often throughout. And in this case, the onions and the mushrooms are each delivering about 200 milligrams of potassium each, and the spinach is super packed with potassium. You're getting about twice that, another 400. Then you throw in another 200 milligrams from the eggs, and you're getting pretty close to that 1,000 milligrams of potassium just from breakfast alone. So if there's one takeaway here, it's adding more vegetables and actually larger servings of vegetables to your breakfast can make a huge difference in the amount of potassium that you get each day. Okay, it sounds like the frittata is done. I'm gonna go take it out of the oven and let's see. Wow, this looks beautiful. All right, look at this. So 1/2 of this tin is about 1,000 milligrams of potassium and it looks fantastic. I think this looks absolutely delicious. So I'm going to let this cool and we'll plate it in a little bit. I cannot wait. Okay, now we're moving on to lunch and we've got an American classic, plain old hamburger with some lettuce and tomato, and then we're going to pair it with some unsalted potato chips. Now, potato chips have got a ton of potassium. In fact, I did an entire video on this. I'll leave a link up above. About 1 ounce of potato chips has about 300 milligrams of potassium. So I'm going to put about 1.5 ounces on my plate. That'll give me about 500 milligrams of potassium in addition to the burger. Now, a 1/4 pound of ground beef has about 300 milligrams of potassium. My burger, this is about 1/3 of a pound, so I might be getting closer to 400 milligrams of potassium with this. So between the chips and the meat, we're already at close to 1,000 milligrams for lunch. And then when we think about the trimmings in the roll, what we should be thinking is that each item adds about 60 or 70 milligrams of potassium. So each side of the roll is about 60 milligrams of potassium, one slice of lettuce, one leaf of lettuce, that is, and one slice of tomato. Also, interestingly, a tablespoon of ketchup has about 50 or 60 milligrams of potassium. So when you add up the burger with all the fixings, especially if you want to load up on those trimmings like the lettuce and tomato, you can really push it well north of 600, 700, almost 1,000 milligrams of potassium for the burger alone, depending on how much meat you put on there. So let's go throw this bad boy on the grill, and then I'll put it together, show you what it looks like completed, and then we'll move on to our next meal. So we've got our burger done. I put the trimmings on, and I've got my ounce and a half of potato chips on there. So all in all, we're looking at about 1,200 milligrams of potassium for this lunch, and I think we can all agree this is something that definitely will feel indulgent. We don't need to sacrifice flavor or convenience when it comes to getting enough potassium. All right, now let's talk about the snack. In between meals, you may feel like grabbing something. For today's high potassium diet, I chose watermelon. So a 20-ounce serving of watermelon, which I got for a few dollars at the local grocery store, pre-cut in this little bowl. 20 ounces delivers almost 700 milligrams of potassium, but less than 200 calories. Now, the only problem with this stuff is that once it's pre-cut, it's really hard to keep it around. I've had this out for a couple hours, and between my wife and my kid, there's barely anything left for me. So this is a great snack. You can cut your own watermelon or pick it up pre-cut. Just keep an eye on it because it may disappear. Okay, now it's time for my favorite meal of the day, dinner. And for dinner, we're going to do roasted salmon with a side of asparagus spears over a bed of cauliflower egg fried rice. Now, this meal is going to provide about 2,000 milligrams of potassium, so it is super rich in this important nutrient, and a lot of that comes from the cauliflower fried rice. Now, I showed you before, I've got these bags of pre-made riced cauliflower. I use 2 bags for this, and it's a lot of cauliflower fried rice, but it's really only about 100 calories. And what I would encourage you to do is try expanding your horizons on how much vegetable you eat at a sitting, because if you can increase those amounts of vegetables, you get very few calories, but a lot of fiber and a lot of potassium. So I'm going to throw the salmon and the asparagus in the oven, and while I do that, while that's cooking, we'll start on the cauliflower fried rice. Okay, so I've plated dinner, and I don't know about you, but I think this looks fantastic. We've got our asparagus spears, we've got our cauliflower egg fried rice, and we've got a beautiful fillet of salmon. So this whole dinner is running close to 2,000 milligrams of potassium, and I know it looks like a lot of food, but believe it or not, it's only about 500 or 600 calories. So the beauty of this is you're getting a ton of food, you're going to feel really satisfied, you're getting a ton of nutrients, and very little in the way of carbs or any kind of the filler foods that are going to weigh you down without giving you the nutrients that you need. Okay, we've had our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've gotten tons of potassium already, and it's time for dessert. But we're not going to cheat and end up with some cakes or cookies or another pastry that's going to have a negligible amount of potassium. Instead, we're going to finish on a strong note, and we're going to get our sweet from something that's got a lot of potassium. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a bowl of mixed berries. Now, 1 cup of mixed berries has about 200 to 300 milligrams of potassium. What I've chosen is blackberries and strawberries in this mix. And blueberries have a little bit less than the other berries, about 160, 170 milligrams of potassium per cup, which is why I went with the strawberries and the blackberries. And I'm going to top it with a little bit of whipped topping, which, to be fair, only adds a negligible amount of potassium. About maybe 40 to 60 milligrams. However, we got to live life, right? So we've got our whipped topping, we've got our berries, and then here's the secret sauce here is I went with a super dark chocolate. So this is 90% dark chocolate, And if you look at the labels, what you'll see is that if you go with milk chocolate or a 60 or even a 70% dark chocolate, there really isn't all that much potassium. However, when you start to get to 80 to 90% cacao, you get whopping amounts of potassium. 1 ounce of this chocolate bar has about 500 milligrams of potassium, which is way more than you get from most chocolates. Now, admittedly, it's a little bitter, but it's one of those tastes that I find to be, that grows on me over time. So if you've got a strong sweet tooth, this might take some getting used to, but for me, the health benefits far outweigh that little loss of the sweetness. But then again, I've got my whipped cream, so I'm not complaining. Bon appetit. Okay, so we finally made it through breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and dessert. And this is what 5,300 milligrams of potassium looks like, with the exception of the watermelon, because I ate that during this filming. It was delicious. So we've got our frittata, spinach, mushroom, onion, eggs. This came out to about 1,000 milligrams of potassium. Lunch was about 1,200 milligrams of potassium, and that was that burger with all the trimmings and the potato chips. Dinner came out close to 2,000 milligrams of potassium, and that was our salmon with our cauliflower egg fried rice and our asparagus spears, and then another 600 or 700 milligrams of potassium for the watermelon, and another 600 or 700 milligrams of potassium for our bowl of berries with some whipped topping and some dark chocolate. So if you want recipes for all of these, links to what a day in the life of 5,000 milligrams of potassium looks like, check the description. I'm going to put a ton of free resources down there. I hope you take advantage of them. I've gotten a ton of questions on how to hit these kinds of numbers, and I've got a ton of free resources to help you do this at home. I promise you it doesn't take that much time, and a lot of these meals are easy. It just requires you to start thinking in terms of potassium and steering your mind away from some of the other things that we might be thinking about when it comes to nutrition. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.